And just like that, welcome back, everybody. Carolina Keith, regular Keith, Professor Keith, if you wish, or just Keith. I'm cool with this. That I think that's probably the easiest, simplest, basic way to do it. I hope everyone had a good couple days there. Wednesday and Thursday goes by really, really fast these days. We finally got some decent weather back here, but boy, is the pollen whipping, and that's WH. Hard WH whipping, man. But nonetheless, glad you're here. Welcome to crypto charts, not just crypto, but charts after dark. Do me a solid, go hit the like button. I got to hit something first right here. Changed my camera settings just a little bit, and it autofocus went off, and they say it's a little bit better without the autofocus, but we'll see. Anyway, subscribe while you're there. YouTube tells us the large majority of you guys don't subscribe. Go subscribe. It's absolutely free. And notifications. Hey, man, hit your notifications so you don't miss anything. We want you guys to stay on top of the ball here, and that's what we do this stream for. First and foremost is the learning channel, and after the learning channel, it is a charts and data channel. What's up, Distinctive Shine? Good to see you, brother. So I want everybody to get as much data as they possibly can. I don't want anybody to miss anything. You know what I mean? So come hang out, tune in, share it around to your friends and folks and peeps, put it on social media. The more people see it, more people we can help. So I will start this stream with XRP here. I'm going to go through the high time frame all the way down to the lower time frame, so you can see it all here and take in what I'm trying to say and understand that there's no hopium involved. I don't do hopium. I don't do partnerships. I don't do amazing new news. I don't do nostro vostro and blah, blah, blah. None of that matters in the real world. In the real world, it's about how much money you're making, and a lot of you guys are only losing money on this. So let's talk about it, shall we? And we shall. I got the weekly chart here pulled up first. I said I'd start on the high time frame. You have been downtrending since October of 2025, and I know it was a little bit before that, but on the high time frame, your high can't be signifying the start of the downtrend. The first lower high is, and that was in October of 2025. And since then, you've done nothing but blitz the lows. You've blown completely through support right there that had held since the beginning of 2025. If you scroll back a little bit and look at things, you're starting to dig in now to the old support from 2021, from the old high that it made in the last bull run. You can see it there. Price is starting to sit over here, which kind of lines up with the old support over here. But I don't think that's done. I think it's going to dig in a little more as the market kind of settles its way out here and works its way out of the hole. But the problem is it's kind of lost the plot here. It's underneath the 821 EMA. It's underneath the trend line. We look at our MACD, we are starting to lose sell volume, and you do see a bit of convergence happening here, and that's good. But it's still hammered so far down that even a cross up there is not necessarily indicative of everything we want to see, but it is a good sign if this crosses up. It hasn't done so yet, though. RSI, you still have not tickled that oversold level. Got really, 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 really close. Look at that. Look how close that thing got to oversold, but didn't quite get there. Very, very close. Ominous, in fact. Just still a little short of the mark. If you put up your pivot points, guess what? You're under everything important. You failed the pivot line, which is sort of your bull bear line. And beyond that, you're down below the next support, which is S1. These are mathematical waypoints on the chart. That's what pivot points kind of act as, whether they be resistance or support. And in this case, support that has failed and turned into unfortunate resistance. You're pinned under that. You're pinned under the trend line. You're pinned underneath the 821 EMA. You are above S2, but that's all the way down at $1. Boy, that would suck, wouldn't it? You see these green highlighted areas I have here. These are my predetermined Fibonacci markers where I think the price will eventually end up going. And I'll put the Fibonacci set up here so you can see it. There you go. So we're sitting on the 50 fib right now. That's actually a good thing. And I say that because it could get much worse here. You could have this thing falling underneath the 50 fib here and getting into an even more bearish territory, but luckily it has stayed above that 50 fib. If it does fail that 50 fib on the logarithmic scale here, guess what? Yeah, you see it. 618 fib right there with a golden pocket begins. Happens to line up nearly identically with S2 of the pivot points. Kind of like predetermined foreshadowing, if you ask me there. That looks like the next available position to go. I want you to be aware that XRP often hunts the 786 level, which happens to be all the way down here at 75 cents. Man, how pissed off would you guys be about the price going from $4 to 75 cents and not going moon soon like everyone told you it would all the way back in 2018 when you started moon sooning, and it has yet to moon soon. What is soon? Explain, right? No matter how many partnerships or good news or lawsuits or etc., things just keep on doing this. And my hope is eventually you guys start to learn that you have to turn all that crap off and just take this matter into your own hands by using the charts to tell you when to buy and sell. I've been sold my XRP. I won't be rebuying it until things turn the corner. It's on the 50 fib is the only good thing we've got going for us, because once we dip down to the daily chart, it's going to look a little more sketchy. So here's our 821 EMA. You're pinned underneath that. If I add in any other moving averages, which I didn't even put on the chart because it looks so bad, here's your moving averages. You're underneath those as well. The 50 moving average pushing down, the 100 moving average pushing down, 200 is all the way up at $2. But you're nowhere near that range right now. And in fact, I think later, this 200 moving average acts as a bit of a barrier to progress and chokes us off a little bit when that eventually gets there. Your Ichimoku cloud, you have failed it all the way underneath. Not great. You were inside of it and you were sort of doing all right here. But now our lag line, our white line is falling under the candles. That's no good. Your conversion line is falling under the baseline. That's no good. The price is falling under the cloud. That's no good. The only thing you got good here is the end of the cloud is green. You would like them all to be the other direction except this green cloud. You want green cloud, blue over red, lag line over candles, and you want this price to be over the cloud, and it very much is not. As far as your RSI and MACD go, you just rolled over into a bearish move right at the midline on the MACD. That's gnarly. Hate to see that. RSI, it did tickle. No, it did not get to overbought, not even close. But since then, it's fallen off rather dramatically, and you had a little bit of bullish move here. Sorry, folks, that's gone. Erased itself pretty darn quick, didn't it? Whoops.
Damn.
I know. You've also fallen under the pivot on the daily chart. Again, that's kind of a bearable uptrend, downtrend sort of waypoint, and you've fallen under that as well. All this to say, there are far less good looks here than there are bad looks. I'm sorry, far less good looks than there are bad looks, and far more bad looks than there are good looks. Last thing I'll leave you with here. Here's your trend line. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not a great look. That's fallen under the uptrend line right there and has sort of created a very aggressive, gnarly little downtrend here that is threatening making a new low. If you dip down below these lows, that's when you're more likely than not heading down to the big support again to give a chase on this candle that threw back way over here. And if that's the case, well, guess what? You're likely working back toward $1. Damn. And if you're down near $1,
damn,
you very well could get to 75 cents, which is that 786 level that we've seen XRP hunt many, many times before. Now, I give you all that to explain to you that there's no hopium involved, no feelings. It's all data. It's all charts. I didn't come on here and give you some drastic opinion. I just simply laid out what the chart said step by step by step. I do this all the time, nonstop, 24/7, 365. I think about this stuff when I fall asleep at night. It sucks. But it is what it is. This is how I progress through things, and this is how my life changed by using the data and by not using feelings. I hope you XRP people can catch on to that, and I hope you don't make the enemy out of me I never have been the enemy ever. I've always been on your team. Thanks for watching. So I recorded that, and I can make that a secondary little video. I did that for that specific reason. I wanted everybody to be able to see it separately. YouTube is telling me to do it more. And while I don't particularly care to do everything on YouTube because of the censorship and stuff that I've gone through, it sucks. But is what it is. I can deal with it, I guess. So let's go look at Bitcoin real quick, like snap fast and hurry. And shout out to everybody watching over on X. Shout out to my guy Soda over on Rumble. Yeah, bro, I shaved. How about that? Got tired of seeing the beard, and also I wanted to get some sun on the face so that I don't look absolutely horrible when I finally do shave, and it's been all summer without having any sun on my face. You know what I'm saying? Let the tan sort of work its way in. I don't want to look like a hobo. And also, man, I looked in the mirror at the bathroom where I was working today, and I just realized how old I looked, and I'm like, damn, Keith, bro, you look old as hell. And I just realized I looked like I was like 60 years old. All the gray in my beard, right? And I refuse to use just for men, dude. I don't like being fake. So I just shaved. It's all good. It'll grow back very, very rapidly. Is what it is. So we'll be over to Bitcoin. What's up, Jeremy? Good to see you. Let me check, double check, make sure I got everything cleared up over here. I do. All right. Here's our 821 EMA for Bitcoin. Yikes. As you see, you just barely held that 50 moving average, and you failed the 821 after we did the Tuesday stream where we said, hey, this was okay. Immediate failure back underneath, only helping out getting caught by the 50 moving average. I'm going to warn you, if this does not improve more by New York Open tomorrow, which is 9 a.m. Eastern, then we're liable to see more of this downtrend here. You're liable to see this thing simply catch the little wave and then dip farther. All right, you have a short-term downtrend over here on the end of the ball here, right there. Short-term downtrend here, and then that would really suck, wouldn't it? But sadly enough, it's more likely than not. If we don't do that and we break over this trend line, well, we have another shot at making a run back up here toward the 100 moving average that is slowly bleeding over in that destruction. I'd love to see it get over there, back up to that $77,000 to $78,000 level, like I've been thinking we were going to get to, but it keeps fading and struggling to actually break. You did hit my box that I drew up here, that green box, hit it right there, but that's all it's done so far. It never really got to that 77,000 level. It got to 76. 77 was more mathematical. Technically, you know, make an argument that she's still in an uptrend here, barely, but still in an uptrend. That's a really, really straw man argument. I would gladly admit that's a bit of a straw man argument right there, and it probably isn't an argument worth making, but I noted it either way that, yes, it is still technically a very, very small uptrend. I'll make it green so we can see it a little bit better there. Fair enough? Fair enough. I don't want to go super deep on it. It's not worth spending too much more time on because, like I said, I think this is more bearish than bullish until it breaks. And a lot of guys are going to say, oh, that's a bullish touch on the trend line there. Sure. But I want you to look at the lack of volume this thing's got after making that big drop. Brother, that is leading you into failure, even if it goes up one more time. That's just that's just bear flagging right there. Just setting you up for disaster for that big plunge back down into the abyss. And I do think we get that plunge. More likely than not, in my opinion, before rates get cut again, before the new Fed chair comes in and starts wrecking shop. I kind of just expect that. Improve. And if it improves and changes, boy, I'm here for it. Trust me. But, you know, not quite good enough yet. Let's go dance around through some of the top assets here. We don't just do crypto. We do everything. Here's the S&P 500. Boy, did she take a good old straight punch in the nuts today. I had warned everyone on the Tuesday stream. I said, hey, watch out. This could be a bearish back test right here, rolling up, and then boom. And what happened? Exactly what I said was going to happen happened. Boy, that sucks. But I warned you. I warned you this was going to happen. Sure enough, it's playing out. That 200 moving average is a bit of a gangster. Getting over it's lovely, but the problem is when you get under it, it's really, really difficult to get back over, especially when you've got all these moving averages diving down on top of it, sort of forcing the rollover. Ichimoku Cloud, no help. It's 4 out of 4 no. All your pivot points are simply blown through. This thing is begging to get to the end of the month. On that note, it's still only tickled oversold a little bit. See that? Only tickled oversold a little bit. I think this thing's more likely than not going to dig the knife in toward the lows. What's up, China Matt? He did the puke emoji. Doggone right, the puke emoji. It still looks like that's going to dig into oversold to me. Tomorrow is going to be wild. Are we going to get a Friday rebound and then another slowdown at the beginning of the week? Well, that's what's been happening. But man, that thing lost its support and lost into the lows now. I warned you, I thought there was another jab down coming, and I think we're going to get it. Sucks is what it is. NASDAQ, nothing better here. You've finally broken out of the range this thing held all the way back to October. That's where the range kind of started, and you can see it kind of hold through there. 2 green lines there mark that range. Boy, do we go under the range and bearish back test that thing or what? That's a brutal failure. You've cut through the 200 moving average, through the 821, through the 50 and the 100, now rolling over, pushing down. Not great. Here's your pivot points. You've blown through S1 and S2 now, and you only have S3 down here at 23,215 to act as any support on the daily chart, which means to tell you that the weekly is just as bad. Sucks to lose the lows here. By losing the low, I mean this was our previous little lows right here, and now we've lost them. And on top of that, on a local top, here was our low, and we have another low. It dropped down even farther. Not great for the NASDAQ. How about the Dow? A little better, but still, you've got a similar price action here and a similar bearish back test and fail. It kind of lets you tell I can tune this trend line in a little bit better here. That 200 moving average and this AEMA acted like a brick wall. That thing ran into it and immediately turned back the other way. That next stab down could be the last stab down. I'm going to try to take advantage of it. I'm going to try to get in there and get some if I can. Because, like always, this stuff bounces back eventually. But it does dig the knife in quite often. This thing got super oversold the other day. First time the Dow had been that oversold since April. But there you go, right there. Look at that oversold condition that we got. Now, to get out of this, break that 200 moving average and everything changes. Now, I don't think it's actually going to break it right now. I think we're going to get some consolidation and then get that last little plunge. And when we dig that knife into oversold, that may be the bounce point. We'll see. How about the Russell? Well, the Russell's a little bit better. It's the top 2,000 assets. As you see, she bounced that 200 moving average rather than failing it like the last 3. And moved back up pretty swiftly, but it hit that 100 moving average, brick wall, immediate roll back over, and now you've fallen back underneath that AEMA again. Not great. Not great. Like the rest, I'm expecting another jab down. A move back towards the 200 moving average, I guess, makes the most sense to me. Just a little swift. I guess that makes the most sense. Let it play out and see what it does. Apple. So, Apple actually had a green day when everything else got smoked out, dude. A lot of this stuff was getting just rickrolled. You guys seen all the on the right-hand side of the chart right there, all the red stuff. Have a drink. You saw all the red stuff. Apple did throw a green candle here. Now, the problem is it got pinned down by the 821 EMA, but it did try. It did throw a green candle and try to get back in there and fight the good fight. You can also argue that it is on the good side of the trend line. All right? We can say, hey, a lot of them didn't do this. A lot of them didn't break out like that. Okay, I get the argument. You did hold S2, where we saw last. A couple of them were underneath S2 or worse. Pivot point is all the way back up to 266. We're about to get new pivots at the end of the month. That's why I said a lot of these things are just hunting the end of the month. Ichimoku Cloud, you are over the conversion line, but that's all you got going for you. And your MACD, looks like it's trying to cross here. I need you to prove it to me. I need you to have a good Friday and prove it, and then see if we can come into Monday and show some power. And the RSI did not go oversold again. After that oversold condition, look what that thing did. Look at that bounce it had. Very impressive. If we get another RSI oversold condition like that, I expect it to happen again. And look at that reflection on the charts. That RSI bounce was worth 15.5%. Not too bad. That oversold turned out to be a decent opportunity to make a buy. And where you saw the other ones failing the low, you can see there, Apple maintaining the low. Did not give it up. Made an equal low or just bounced support. I like that. We need to have more of that. We need to see more of these assets showing some strength here. Microsoft. Oh my goodness, fellas. I've been calling this one out as one that I wanted to take a chance on. It just keeps more and more red. We are now 51% from all-time high in a matter of 3 months. We've lost half of the market cap on Microsoft. Wow. What a fall. I did not expect to see Microsoft lose 50% of its market cap, but I guess it makes sense. Here's a short-term Fibonacci set. You're almost down to the 1.618 on the short term here. You are oversold. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th time oversold for Microsoft. Wow. It's pretty darn impressively oversold. It rarely happens like this for Microsoft, especially when you flip it out to the weekly here. When you flip it out to the weekly, the last overbought condition was in July of last year, and it went straight to oversold. And now Microsoft is again, this is the lowest the RSI on the weekly chart for Microsoft has been in 20 years. The last time it was like this, 2006. Impressively bad for Microsoft. Again, I think this eventually bounces. I do not think Microsoft has died. So the question is, where do you take a chance? You are now, let's pull a fib on this. You are now in the Sniper's Alley, 786-886. If you don't hold 364, my goodness. We could see this thing go even farther and dig down into the trenches here and go aim for this old high back here at around 330 to 350. My goodness. Microsoft, boy, did you let the ball drop on that one. Hate to see it do that, but man, what do you know about a Magnificent 7 asset just absolutely doing the Amber Heard and dumping all in the bed? Yeah, man.
Damn.
Bruh.
I know. It's pretty gross.
Come on, man.
I said the same thing when I saw that minus 50% earlier today. I was like, what? But guess what? You'll have that on those big jobs. SMH Semiconductor Fund. This is VanEck. SMH is a very well spoke about and charted asset. Watch out. That's a head and shoulders, folks. This thing can get ugly. It can get ugly. Be careful. I like the fact that it has held this short-term support right here. You are hitting the 100 moving average in a hurry. That's usually a bad sign. You do have a short-term downtrend. That is a bad sign. You get the 50 moving average and roll back rather aggressively, also a bad sign. Not great. 821 failure, 50 moving average failure, 100 moving average hit. Not great for semiconductors, but could be worse. You saw some of these other ones that looked even worse than that. How about some crypto-based assets? How about MicroStrategy? Somebody needs to.
You gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me?
I know, dude, it's rough. Microsoft finding it hard to excel in this market, waiting for the windows of opportunity to show such a bounce from those PowerPoints. China Matt, come in with the dad jokes, bro. I love it. It's well done, China Matt. Dad jokes everywhere. MicroStrategy, boy, it only gets worse. I understand that whole we're going to DCA no matter what strategy that he has. It will eventually work so long as your asset continues to appreciate. And I think we all know that Bitcoin will eventually bounce back from this. But he's getting smoked right now. And in fact, the really wild part is the buys on the way up were so much larger than the buys on the way down. So even though he's DCA and he's DCAing very slowly, and it's going to take forever to get back to his cost basis. I believe his average price is somewhere around 70-something thousand or 78,000, something like that. We're at 69.2 on the CME. So he's got some catching up to do. He's going to have to keep convincing people to buy more, and that's going to get tough the more this knife digs in, right? So you failed the 50, failed the trend, failed the 821. The only thing you got going for you here is this 382 fib that it made its way back to. Hold the line there, be nice, but I'm pretty sure this is going to roll over and give up and come back down here and make us a bearish back test. We'll see. Breaking the 50 moving average, and I change my tune, right? That 50 sweeping down. If this price comes up and cuts through, well, I change my tune to a more upbeat one. What is another one we could do? Let's do Coinbase. This was a little better the other day, and it rapidly gave up. Failed the short-term trend, failed the long-term trend. Not great. Failed the 821 EMA, failed the 50 EMA. Boy, Coinbase laid over and gave up. How about Circle? Circle was the best of the bunch, fellas, ladies. 200 moving average finally just showed up, and guess what? We just fell back underneath it. We fell back underneath the 821 EMA, 3 closes under. That is a halfway out, and you're about to get your 821 downward cross, which would be your all the way out. Not perfect, but way high. That's the purpose of the 821 EMA. She's got some splaining to do, and she needs to catch up quick, fast, and in a hurry. Gold. All right. So to speak on gold here, no matter how much excuses you try to make for any asset, the bottom line is the charts usually have the answers. We've been watching gold very closely. Peter Schiff not saying anything negative about gold after it is officially down 21% from the high and getting outperformed by Bitcoin, which looks bad. But it did bounce the 200 moving average like I talked about last stream. And I explained the same bearish back test that we're getting with the S&P, NASDAQ, and Dow, and Russell eventually, is likely to happen here for gold. Come back up here, back test this little short-term trend line that we got right there, which happens to be around the 100 moving average and the 8 EMA. Test that back right there, roll over, and I bet you she takes another dive for that 200 moving average. And what would be the difference to change my opinion on that? Well, that would be getting over this trend line and that 100 moving average that is kind of capping it off. Over here in this area, that's not quite good enough. I need you to get up above that, over that 100 moving average, and prove that you got the juice to get moving here. Pivot points, you're underneath S2. Not great. Flipping it back out to the weekly, I do like the long tail, long wick on the bottom of that candle. That's good. The problem is you're in between the 821, you're underneath the 821. This will be the second close on the weekly, which would be our first halfway out move for gold, DCAing out and not so much in anymore. And then you're going to be working on an 821 downward cross and a 50 MA approach. Gold slowed way down, didn't it? Yeah. A lot of stuff slowed way down. Is what it is, and you should be predicting this stuff to slow down and not always stay moon rocketing way up in the air and just absolutely flying. That's just not realistic and not the way things work. It took a while, but things finally started slowing down on the metal side. I don't expect a super big bounce from here. I think that was an extremely long generational run, and I do think it's time for metals to take a breather like the rest of the market. So what we'll be looking for tomorrow again, I need to see some volume come in and stay in throughout New York's opening, which is at 9 a.m. You're going to get pre-market around 7 a.m. We'll see where the pre-market sits and see if there's actually going to be some volume there or not, and that'll show us a lot of indicators about what we're about to get. If we get a good Friday, we might have a Monday that can show some fight. If we don't get a good Friday, we're almost guaranteed to have a gnarly Monday and first of the week. So appreciate everybody coming and hanging out and watching. It's awesome that you guys are still doing this with me all these years later. We're working on 7 years on YouTube. Thank you all. I appreciate it. I really do. It means a lot that people still come and hang out after all this time. You could be watching any channel you want to on YouTube. Could have gave up and walked away like a lot of people did, but you're still here. And it says a lot about you. Thank y'all. I'll see y'all on the next stream. Back on Tuesday. Try to do an hour if we can. I've been pretty tired lately. It's weather's whipping my ass a little bit. Is what it is. You know, getting up at 5:30 and running around, doing the runaround things, a little bit frustrating, and takes the juice out of you sometimes. Is what it is. I'll see you guys next stream. Y'all be good, man. As always, sky's the limit. I'm out. Peace.